Is this truly the beginning of the next Bitcoin bull market? And could a run, potentially to new all-time highs, be in the cards for BTC at some point later this year? Or my friends, does this in fact look like a point where we could see an absolutely heinous, bearish rejection to the downside to continue the bear market? Let's dive in and analyze. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Crypto Kirby here, your cryptocurrency expert, back with another edition of the daily live stream. Today, I not only want to cover Bitcoin, but I'd like to cover the altcoin market as well. Some of the top cap coins such as Ethereum, Litecoin, and XRP. Because right now, my friends, the market as a whole is truly at what I believe to be an epic crossroads, either going to lead us into the next parabolic mania phase, or my friends, going to potentially be one of the most heinous, bearish rejections of all time. So as a full-time trader, I'd like to discuss with you my strategy, my game plan, and how I plan to crush this market right now in the immediate term. So without any further ado, you guys already know the deal. If you like these daily crypto videos and nightly live streams, smack that thumbs up button, click the subscribe, tick the little bell, and let's get this crypto. Moon the likes, ladies and gentlemen. Moon them up. All right. So we'll begin with our Bitcoin technical analysis. And of course, before we begin, this is not investment advice. This is not trading advice. These are only my own opinions, ideas, and speculative hypotheses on the market. Always do your own research and your own due diligence before investing or trading, as this market is extremely high risk, and I am not your financial advisor. I will never tell you what to do with your trades or investments. That being said, let's begin right here on the one-day time frame. Now, clearly, as you guys see outlined here on my chart, that I see that Bitcoin is trading in a pretty standard borderline textbook rising wedge. Now, these can be very bearish patterns, on the contrary to falling wedges, which can be very bullish patterns, right? But for me right now, the more important thing to understand here is where we're at in relation to the macro trend, right? And this is an area that's posed a problem for Bitcoin really all throughout the last year, right? Where we've seen that this zone in particular, right here around 10,350 to 10,400, was a zone where after we had our blow off top at 14,000, Bitcoin found its initial bounces at this range. Then it turned it into resistance. Then it ripped through, but then fell again, tested it as resistance again, dumped, resistance, 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 and then capitulated. Then we traded down here for a little bit, and then we had our sick, twisted 42% candle to the upside in less than 42 hours time, in less than 24 hours time. And where did that rejection come in at? Ding, 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 chicken wings for dinner, tofu if you're vegan. Right at that very specific area, right? So for me right now, this line is really a very important macro trend line to keep in mind here, okay? And if we actually zoom in here on Bitcoin, look at where we've been getting rejected, right? Look at where these candle bodies are closing, right? Sure, we had wicks up here on the daily, but if we actually go to the line chart now, which takes the wicks out of it and it's just candle body closes, look, ladies and gentlemen, we've absolutely respected this line to a T. It's insane. I mean, this is just a classic textbook area of classic support and resistance flips, and right now Bitcoin is struggling to get above. So now when we add some confluence in here, I do want to point out the fact that Bitcoin is still right now seeing a potential bearish divergence here on the one-day RSI, right? We have ascending highs, descending highs on the RSI. Okay, then here on the MACD histogram as well, what we are seeing is that we are seeing a flat line here, and potentially, right, the day is not over, but we are beginning to see a potential decline here as well. So ascending price action, flatlining histogram, potentially looking to turn down as well. Also, whilst coming up upon this potential area of historic support and resistance confluence, as of which right now Bitcoin is not closing above and is respecting it as a tentative resistance at this point in time. Let's get this crypto. Okay, so for me, we'll begin the analysis there that, hey, there's potential here with all of that taken into consideration that Bitcoin could be due for a slight pullback, right? Just taking that into consideration. Now, I don't usually look at these time frames, but I want to show you guys the 5-minute chart here today. This was absolutely sick. And I told you guys on a stream just a few days ago of why I don't necessarily like to get into new positions when a trade is hot, quote unquote, right? And right now, the trade is very hot. This whole region here has a ton of volume in terms of what we've seen recently, and a ton of people looking to get into positions. And why is that? Because they're FOMOing, right? You have a lot of emotional traders right now. Kirby, why aren't you doing this? Oh, Kirby, why aren't you doing that? Little James, calm down, my friend, right? Calm down. For me right now, this action here, whipsawing, right? Stop loss hunting, liquidation hunting. This is what you find when the trade is hot, right? You saw it over here as well. This is what happens when the trade is crowded, right? That's what I mean by hot. Excuse me if you didn't understand what I mean. The trade is crowded, right? And when I'm looking for trades, I like to get in when there's not so much of a crowded atmosphere, right? I'd rather get in when it's cooled down a little bit. And for me right now, we're seeing classic signs here of, retail traders just getting wrecked here in these conditions where the bots are just taking control of the trend, in my opinion. And we're seeing a bunch of action here that for the most part is just going to make the algorithm bots very, very happy. Okay. So that's not what I'm interested in right now, is these little swings. What I'm interested in is the large swing. So let's go back here to the candlestick chart now, the 1 day. And I want to show you guys like what I mean by this, right? So the trend thus far has been a staircase pattern, right? And we've seen that these staircases have come back to retest the highs of the last staircase. Now, we have not had that yet here, okay? So mixing all of that confluence together, that we are potentially at this resistance point, the patterns, everything, the bearish divergences, it would be completely natural, in my opinion, to potentially test down back to this 0.236 Fibonacci, right? That is also coinciding directly here with the old resistance of the last staircase. In fact, that would match the exact perfect trend that we've seen happen over and over and over and over again all throughout this very specific uptrend. Now, of course, past performance does not indicate future results, but if Bitcoin were to dump, and from where the price is at right now, that could be another 6% plus move to the downside to get to that fib. And from the top of the trend here, where we peaked out at, that would be roughly a 9% pullback. I mean, that's pretty large, right? But here in Bitcoin land, that it's actually a normalcy. The problem here is that when you get into a hot trade, again, many FOMOers, they buy the top and then they panic sell the bottom, right? And then it becomes a game where there's just a ton of chop, right? And the thing for me is that in these types of conditions, I'm preferring to wait for the trade to come to me. I'm not in a position right now. Many people have expressed this, their feelings to me, their emotional feelings. Kirby, why aren't you going long? Kirby, why? Well, James, I was long, my friend. I got long in the low $8,200 region, right? I watched my trade go up. I took profits on my trade. I then entered a little short trade upon this resistance, got quickly stopped out. And right now, with the amount of chop going on inside this range and the amounts of heinous little whipsaw action going on inside this is not an environment that I'm currently looking to open new trades at this very specific point in time. Yes, I'm looking for a swing trade here, something potentially like a dip buying scenario around the pullback levels of which I've been outlining. Of course, that could not work out. I could look to potentially go long somewhere around here, and then I get stopped out upon a further dump, right? There are no guarantees or certainties in trading. That's why I think it's so funny. Kirby, you get wrecked. You predicted it wrong. This isn't a game of predictions, Stunod. This is a game of looking for confluence to give myself a perceived high reward, low risk trade setup based upon the historic price action of the trend. Okay, I'm actually going to pull this quote up here. I didn't actually intend to do this, but let's put it on. Okay, this is one of my favorite quotes, and I think it's very beneficial, especially for traders that are new to trading in general. Okay, here's the quote. Quote, technical analysis tracks the past. It does not predict the future. You have to use your own intelligence to draw conclusions about what the past activity of some traders may say about the future activity of other traders. Okay, end quote. Now, for me, my friends, a lot of people seem to not understand what's going on here, right? Because technical analysis, for the most part right now, on a daily time frame, 4-hour time frame, the trade has been very, very risky in terms of a bullish outlook. We've been up in overbought territory for quite some time. There's been bearish divergences all along the way, my friends. I mean, we've seen bearish divergences almost the entire way up here, which is inherently risky. And of course, you'll get the smart, wise guys. Oh, Kirby, what a bearish divergence and an uptrend. What is it? You can try and negate everything I'm saying all you want if you're crazy like that, and for some reason you just watch my videos to try and make like what I'm saying has no validity. Sure, you're entitled to your own opinion, Stunod. But the fact of the matter is that you can't deny the fact that longing in this region underneath massive critical resistance, while also not yet sticking in and closing new candle bodies above the old macro high. So we still right now are on a neutral high. Bitcoin has not yet broken the lower high trajectory. At this point, we are on a neutral high, okay? Take that into consideration as well. While also seeing all the divergences, my friends, you can't deny the fact, at least in my opinion, that longing here has been very risky. Sure, it's worked out, but it's been very risky. And I don't know if many actually understand how risky it's been. Doesn't mean that it hasn't worked out. I went long as well too, at a point where I figured was less risky. I took a nice profit and I moved along. And right now I'm looking for my next long trade as well. And the thing is that if this does negate some of my bullishness here, my bullish thesis, I may look to go short as well. But for me right now, this exact area that we're at, I'm not in a trade here. I'm currently strategizing and formulating my plan for if this pulls back, what am I going to do here? And if this rocket ships through and we do get above this absolutely critical structure of potential resistance, then what am I going to do up here, right? So if you do want to see all of my trade setup ideas in real time as I strategize to tentatively crush the market like a 2-ton man on a tuna fish can, ladies and gentlemen, I will be posting all of my trade setup ideas exclusively for you in VIP. If you are not already in VIP, my friends, sheesh, today is the day. It's time to transform yourself from average Joe into savage Joe. Let's get this crypto. I will see you in VIP right now after this video. Let's get this crypto. So now that we've looked at Bitcoin here, right, from this perspective, keep in mind the golden cross that could potentially come to fruition here on the daily time frame. Let's get these drawings out of the way so we can better see this. We could see right here that this gold 200-day and this 50, right? We do have the 200-day as of right now looking like it's going to continue to curl to the upside. Of course, that's tentative and could change. We do have the 50 here as well, looking to potentially cross this. If we get a cross like that, with seeing both moving averages sloping to the upside and then crossing bullishly, my friends, this could be a very, very nice sign for the bulls. But as we should all know, we've seen in the past that there has been fake outs on these indicators, right? Here's one that no one wants to talk about either, right? We had a quote-unquote death cross here, quite the opposite of a golden cross. It's when the 50 crosses the 200 on a downward slope, right? And we had the death cross here, right? And now every retail Joe and his brother, oh, Kirby, it's going down to nothing. And then what happens? Right, literally the day of the death cross, right? The day of. boom, 40% to the upside. And people will always talk about this. Oh, Kirby, it was the China news. It was the China news. Yeah, I'm sure, little James, it was the China news. Or was it the fact that many retail traders put in shorts there because of the death cross that everybody and their brother was shilling, and then the whale comes in and wrecks it for an absolute heinous short squeeze debacle? That or the China news? Get out of here, James. Sheesh. Fired up. Okay, so now this, my friends, could possibly result in a short-term fake out as well. So just keep it on your radar. This market is very, very savage when it comes to short squeezes, long squeezes, fake outs, liquidation hunts, etc. You know, a lot of people don't want to believe this, right? They just don't, for whatever reason. They don't even understand the market, right? And what I mean by that, do you guys not get it? Most of the volume, I'm talking like 85 to 90% plus of the volume on Bitcoin, quote unquote, is on the unregulated derivatives market. Spot Bitcoin is really not even, it doesn't even compare at all to the volume done on the unregulated derivatives market. Spot Bitcoin, private keys of Bitcoin, right, on the spot market, compared to those derivatives, it's dwarfed. So the thing is that this is a game that's being, I don't want to say manipulated, but it's a game that there's traders taking advantage of playing both the spot market with heavy capital and the derivatives on leverage / margin with heavy capital. Okay. And in that type of environment, there are a lot of potential shenanigans that can occur when there are signs that so blatantly appear for the moon boys and degenerates to be a sure thing. There are no sure things in trading, little James. There are no certainties. There are no guarantees. Even the best trading setup can lead to a capital loss, right? That's just how trading works. There are no certainties, okay? So all that being said, end rant there. Right now, what I'm looking to do is strategize to crush the market to the best of my ability to find the next potential high reward, low risk trade setup. So for me right now on Bitcoin, that is not for me at this very moment. Again, if I had to choose something, this looks like a range for me that I could expect a potential pullback, but I think it's too risky, especially with the, bot action like this going on. The stop loss hunting game it's too much for me right now to enter a trade at this very specific moment. So if you do want to see my next trade setup idea, well, I'll see you in VIP because that's where I will be posting it when the time comes that I'm looking to enter for a potentially high reward, low risk trade. Let's get this crypto. Okay, so now that we've ripped through Bitcoin, let's go to the altcoins briefly. Okay, but if you are just tuning in now, don't forget to moon up the likes, moon them up, smash those thumbs, click the subscribe button, tick the little bell, and let's get this crypto. Satoshi needs a new pair of shoes. Sheesh. Now, we'll begin here with the total cap excluding Bitcoin. This is pretty much all the altcoins, right? And what we're looking at here, very similar to Bitcoin, is this level of absolute and utter confluence, right? This has just been a range here where we've seen time and time again that it's acted as long-term support and long-term resistance. And my friends, we are seeing a potential rejection right here, right now, while also just being in a parabolic uptrend. I mean, how long do parabolic uptrends generally last before a sell-off? I mean, let's just look back in history. We'll go over to our log now so it's easier to see, right? And the thing is, my friends, is that you generally don't ever get a parabolic uptrend without a parabolic sell-off. I mean, that one there, 65%. Let's see this one here. 56%. Let's see this one here. 50%. And then, of course, our most recent sell-off from 2018, right, all the way down, 77%. And then look, let's just look all the way. I mean, just every single time, my friends, has been crazy sell-offs. Of course, past performance does not indicate future results, but even right here in 2019, this last one, right, last parabolic, it dumped 64%. So for me, this one, the probability of something like that happening again, looking back at history, there certainly is a heightened probability, in my opinion, that a large sell-off could be looming in the shadows. And that's why they call it FOMO, fear of missing out, right? All of the dumb money buys in at the top, then they sell the bottom, and then it happens all over again. And that's just how these markets work, right? Now, of course, it doesn't have to occur that way. We could just rip right through. And of course, if we get above this region, very similar to Bitcoin, if we get above here, close candle bodies and begin to consolidate, well then, my friends, this old long-term trend line of old resistance may then turn into a new long-term level of support, and things can all change at that point in time. And so will my analysis. Let's get this crypto. Now, let's look at Ethereum here. Let's get to ETH. Let's pull this up here. And what we can see here on ETH, my friends, is that, look at it. Same thing. Boom, 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 boom. Also, just like Bitcoin, we are seeing that this is extremely overbought in terms of the RSI on the 1 day. A pullback, in my opinion, would be natural. We are looking to potentially golden cross as well, maybe seeing a rejection, get a cross here, and then look to see if this could potentially rip through this level. I mean, until then, my friends, I mean, isn't it crazy? All I have to draw on this chart is one line, right? There's really just one line drawn on this chart. And for me, at this point in time, that's all I need to see is one line, right? I mean, it is what it is. And then if we get above this line, well, that's a number one confirmation, right? And then number two would be creating that new macro high and closing above it, right? So let's draw a trend line there as well. For me, this would be at this high here, which is currently at roughly around 371 USD. So getting up above this region, for me here would be confirmation number one of potential further bullish upside action. And then confirmation number two would be getting above the old high, consolidating and looking to go. Okay, let's get this crypto. We'll go over to Litecoin now. This has been a super hot one here as well. Let's get this here. Litecoin, same thing, right? One line, peak, supports, resistance, resistance, supports, supports, resistance. And now, my friends, we are right back up on this area. It's all the same, right? It's all looking very much the same. It really does follow Bitcoin to a T. We are also seeing right now some potential bearish divergence here as well, right? Ascending price action, descending on the indicators here. I mean, it's all pretty much looking the same to me, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how you slice it, right? If we look at, let's go to XRP here as well briefly. This one looks, I mean, this one is actually looking better than the other ones. This went right down into the honey hole of Don Carbonaccio. You guys know that I had this area in particular of long-term potential support outlined forever and a day. If you're subscribed here, you would know that. It went right down into the honey hole and now has really seen a nice rip. So getting back above this 30-cent line here, and if if XRP is able to close weekly candle bodies above the 30-cent line, well, my friends, it's possible that this could be now looking to form somewhat of a rounding bottom, right? Let's get this crypto. But again, I think it's going to be very highly dependent upon Bitcoin and the rest of the market, as well as, although this one in particular has a little bit more of a promising look at this very moment, in my opinion. The problem for me here is that the rest of the market that I just showed you is at that critical point where it's either going to see an absolutely heinous rejection to continue the bear market, or it's going to wind up being that we get through this resistance range and then consolidate, right? And at that point, if the total cap here that I'm showing you were to do that, that is essentially exactly what XRP would be looking to do anyway. You see what I'm saying? Where it would get back above this old level here, which is what XRP is looking to do now. And then if this consolidates here, it's all the same, right? It's all the same. So for me, it's not really about the individual coins right now. It's more so about the health of the market as a whole. So there's not much more for me to say except that we appear to be at the point. This is it. Like this appears to be it for me, right? This is either going to be the top here, where we could have one more parabolic blow off top, and that's it. We continue the bear market, or we're going to actually continue to rise, maybe even a pullback. I'd much rather see a pullback and then go back up for the health of the trend. And then if we can consolidate above here, look to create that new higher high, my friends, things could get very, very juicy longer term for Bitcoin, in my opinion, and the altcoin market as well. Let's get this crypto. So guys, like I've stated, right now I'm looking to get absolutely aggressive here. I'm going to be posting all of my trade setup ideas, strategy ideas, all of it exclusively for you in VIP. As I've stated, if you're not already in my VIP, ladies and gentlemen, sheesh, today is the day. It's time to transform yourself from average Joe into savage Joe. Let's get this crypto. I'll see you in VIP right now after this video. I'm fired up. If you haven't already, I really would appreciate a thumbs up here today, guys. Moon the likes, moon them up, and leave a comment down below. Actually comment with other altcoins that you would like me to analyze, and I'm going to do some of them on the next stream. Okay, so comment which altcoins you would like me to analyze as well. I'll do a few requests on the next stream. And until next time, my friends, I'll see you all in VIP right now. I'm ready to tentatively crush this market. Are you? Let's get this crypto. I will see you in VIP right now after this video. Let's get this crypto. And until next time, the Don has spoken. Be safe, be happy, be healthy. It's your boy, Crypto Kirby. Peace and love, my friends. Curbs.